The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com, Smashmaster, Derby Parts, and Derby Inc. magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Is that better for you, Brian?
Awesome.
How about that, John?
You are the
Is that
man.
okay? Is that okay?
Is my volume better this week?
Yeah, you're a lot better.
It's too loud,
You
I
can
think.
hear it great. It's about time. You can hear almost exactly everything that you're saying, except for when you're. Never mind.
See, I'm just a shy, quiet guy. And you got to make fun of me for it.
I know. But this is episode number 11 of the Crash Course. I'm Chris Marquardt. This is the effervescent Brian Tompkins joining us in studio. This is a compact-focused program. Josh Decker made the drive up. He took some time out of his busy full-size schedule to hang out with the lowly compact guys. As he was saying earlier on Facebook, we got Seneca County champion Mike Felice here. We got his first win and only his third start. We've also got longtime compact campaigner Guy Raymond here. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody's so excited and full of energy already. It'll change course. We got Kenny Kuehn. Kenny Kuehn is going to be on a little bit later on. He's from Lakeland, Illinois. We'll be talking with him. Give him about 10 minutes here before we get him on the line, and we're going to talk to the energetic Brad Cline, who is a regular down at the Woodstock, Virginia shows, Shenandoah County Fair, and he ran an in-car camera. He was the one that was on the show poster, getting tossed around inside his compact car at the Rumble at the Rock. We'll be seeing him in May 10th, I think, next year. We'll be getting back down there to see him, so that'll be a good time. I guess right off the top, we're going to get into a little bit of the conversation, sort of kind of qualify who we're talking with here. Guy, I'd like to start with you. You qualified for the state fair this year. You've been running compact cars because you can run 4 of them for the cost of a big car. We talked a little bit about that, but this year you had the chance to run both sides of the coin. You had a small car. You did pretty well over at Black Rock. You had a win just about in the bag until you decided that you were going to turn it inside out against Andy Brown, and you did a good job at that. I'll give you credit.
Yep.
And you had a real good run at Broome County Fair in a small car, and then you took a second place showing in the big car.
Yeah, it was quite a run, though. I had going there. I just don't really know what happened at Black Rock. Like I was explaining to everybody, I've done many, many times. Just halfway through, it didn't seem like the show was picking up at all, and I just said, the heck with it, and I just gave her hell. It was going to the junkyard anyways, and I'm like, let's just do it, and that's all I said. Me and Andy, I told him if it come down to me and him, I'm just going to hammer it.
Right.
And that's all I did. I wanted to put on a show. I wanted to make the DVD worthwhile or try to do a bunch of stuff for the fans. I can care less to win most of the time. I just run it until the wheels fall off,
Sure.
mostly.
That doesn't seem like is it easier for you to have a driver come up and say specifically, I'm going to be going for you, or is it more fun for you to be a surprise?
I'd rather have people tell me, only
Yeah.
because the simple fact is the whole teaming thing now is getting kind of out of hand a little bit, I think. Especially even in the compact class, it's getting kind of where it's not about who's just going out there to have fun. It's all about who you know, and it's kind of sad. It really is. There's 2 classes, like I said, that most everybody, they say, oh, well, a compact's a compact. No, it's not anymore. There's a compact and there's a modified compact.
Yeah.
And I feel that there's 2 classes there, and a lot of people mix them up. And that's where most of my cars get junked. But it's still fun, all in the name of the game. I really don't care to win. I just do it for the fans. And if I win, that's a bonus. I've always said that.
Did you have a good time at the state fair?
Oh, yeah. That was the biggest fun I've ever had in the figure 8 race. It was just, I went out there and I dominated the whole field. And, it just one of those things where it was told I couldn't win that night. 1 lap to go and just barely get touched, and couldn't figure out why I wouldn't go back in the drive. It was only in reverse, and I only had 1 tire to go around. It was kind of disheartening, but it is what it is. I went home, found out it was just a linkage.
Right.
The linkage popped right off. That's all it was. Then I won best appearing car that night too.
With the Minion wagon, right?
Yep, that Minion wagon, Broome County. So many drivers, so it couldn't help but run the Minion wagon.
Sure.
There's so many people out there, and everybody's trying to fight for the same thing, the banana/championship. They all want it.
Mm-hmm.
I only went for one reason, and that was just to run best appearing car, and I got it. So that was great. I ended up selling the car to Josh anyways.
And Vern Backus ended up finishing that car off at Black Rock in the fall.
Yes, he did.
There was still some life left in it, but you crushed it anyway?
No, Guy was saying that on the way here that it didn't look too bent after Black Rock. Trust me, that thing was bent everywhere. I mean, on one side, I think it was bent in about 7 spots. So we got a lot of life out of it. Thank you, Guy, for telling me that. By the way, we run a couple times, 3 or 4 times, but it's in China by now.
While we're over here, we'll jump over to Mike Felice picking up a win at the Seneca County Fair in Waterloo this year. Congratulations again on that. That was a great show. You and Paul Reynolds, who was fairly new to the sport, in his outing there at Seneca County. You guys beat Dave Dressing into a corner, and then you were able to settle it between yourselves.
Yeah, it's good. It's good it came down to me and Paul. I went to school with Paul, so to have it come down to me and him was a lot of fun. Just try to drive smart and put on a good show, I guess. And surprised my car did that good, actually, to be honest with you. You
always run the red cars. I mean, what was the story behind this car that you had this year that you won with, and why the small cars versus the big cars?
I just got started in the small cars because I got a Honda Civic actually given to me the first year I ran, so I just stuck with it. And inexpensive, I guess. I don't know. I never ran a big car, so I don't know how much more expensive it is. Just what people tell me. So
roughly $8,000.
I'll stick to the small cars for right now.
Yeah,
I'm not ready to move up yet, I don't think.
The small cars can do just as good as the big cars.
Yeah.
You can see those small cars. They certainly have an advantage in terms of maneuverability. When they're out there, they can get out there and just run the circles around the big cars when they share the track. Like a lot of John King's shows, you can see the compacts put on just as good a show as the big ones.
Yeah, I run against. It's actually funny because a bunch of times I've run against Guy. Personally, me and Guy have duked it out where I'm in a V8 and Guy is in compacts, and Guy is always in there till the end. I mean, I have to beat him up forever to get him out of there. And it's actually funny because a lot of times you think I took an Imperial out and I thought I was just going to school everybody, and not true. I mean, it would come down to a bunch of guys' cars.
Yeah. Me and you this year, and then it was a couple years ago. It come down to you and that other guy in that other Chrysler and that little. Stratus it was.
Yeah, one of Goalie's guys, Eric.
He had junked, I thought it was Robbie's car at that year, didn't you?
Yeah, I was in a 65 Imperial, and like a Hyundai is just smoking me over and over. It was rough. But now sometimes them compacts can actually duke it out as long, and they're more mobile. That's the problem. It's like I'm trying to chase these little SOBs around, and they're just firing off on me. That was actually one of the most painful derbies I'd ever been in when it was me versus 10 compact guys.
I was talking to Al Crockett last night when we were finishing up the video from the Woodburger Fall Brawl in Massachusetts. He's from up in the Brockton, Taunton area. You'll be seeing him when you go up for the Northeast Championships next July. And he said that usually running the small cars, he ends up more sore after a small car run than he does in the big car, just because the energy is transferred to you right away. And but the Chautauqua County Fair, or was it the Lake Erie show? Might have been the Lake Erie show back in 2012. There was Illumina there, and those guys were just slamming away on each other, and the back bumper was up to the back seat, or the front seats. I mean, it just looked like somebody had taken the Sawzall and cut the car off behind the driver's door. So there was just nothing there. Another time we saw the floor rip out right behind the back seat, so the car actually went inside out on itself. The floor, the trunk floor, and everything was just hanging up, and it was still dragging it around.
Sometimes I think compact guys are a little nuttier than the V8 guys because
wait before you finish that.
I think I know what Josh is getting at here.
Guy, go ahead.
I think he's getting at when we were at Black Rock. I was running one of my other friends, Sozo on off again friends car. It was like a 2001 bubble top Cavalier, and everybody thought I was crazy, but I went out there against like 8 other. They were Cordovas. I don't know what Josh was in, but there was a whole bunch of 70s iron out there, and they were all looking at me like, what is this guy doing? And we got out there, and I just parked next to the biggest car and just sat there and let them tee off on each other, and it come down to me and Josh, and Josh stuffs me in the side of the wall over there. There was it was like a concrete / whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
I'm sitting there, come on, knock me off, and he's over there going, and I'm trying to tell him, hit me, and he's sitting over there, I don't want to, and
now I'm taking a W there. I'm taking the W.
I told him, just push me. The car would not stop.
I'm cheap like that. I'll take those W's
W
where I can take them.
You can, man. Any way you can.
But guys definitely take some beatings out there with compacts. He's always there right till the end, and I'm hitting him with a 65 full frame Imperial, and he's.
Well, a lot of that has to do with you guys running those heavy cars. You get out there, it's like driving a cinder block around. You can't really move like the little cars. We got the weight that's sent over to the tires. It gives you.
Was that cinder block thing a jab at Josh?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dude.
You all can say that, but that night you got me.
Far-fetched. It was way out there.
Well, you can all say that. Okay, that
I
was
hate when Brian says, "Oh, that makes me more mad."
Is Benjamin sending you a 50 for getting that in there?
Yeah,
or?
yeah. He asked me to get that.
Cool.
more like 100.
He said if you can get it in the first 10 minutes, I'll pay you.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, as long as it works out for you, buddy. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, that was one of the funner shows this year. It was definitely.
We got Kenny Kuehn joining us on the line now from out in Illinois. Guy alluded to this a minute ago a little bit about how the compact class is definitely split now. There's the stock compacts. Mike actually got to experience that a little bit when it was supposed to be stock compacts, and it ended up being a little bit further down the modified line. And then when we were at Blizzard Bash, we saw what they called modified compacts, where they had compacts that were built like tanks that ran against Ford Rangers. Kenny, tell us in your neck of the woods what the compact landscape is like, and tell us a little bit about driving cars out there in Illinois.
Well, like you said, you're starting to see a split between the stock and the modified. I actually got my first time being an inspector this summer too, and the things that people are doing, going from leaf and alumina to
Wow.
Whoa, that's crazy. I ain't never heard of that.
Wow. Say that again.
Whoa.
Wow.
Never even thought of that.
Yeah, there's leaf and luminas out here, and carbureting the 3.1. So, wow, you pretty much got a mini Imperial there.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I mean, you
I have a question for him.
go. Yeah.
My biggest question is on those motors, how do they get spark to them when they're electronic injection? You know what I'm saying? Because I know you're putting a carburetor on it, but you still got to have spark. That's what I was wondering. I've always thought of that. I've dreamed of it. I've seen pictures of people putting carburetors on their intakes and stuff, but I don't know how the spark gets there. You know what I'm saying? It's electronically controlled.
Yeah, well, from what I'm just now starting to look into it. I run luminas myself, but I just
Same.
stick with I haven't had any problems with running a EFI yet that I've had to really put much time into it. But from what I've found doing my research, you're seeing supposedly you can put the distributor and stuff right in the existing hole. There's a hole there. You got to cut it out. And then they're hot wiring the coil packs.
And that compact, me and Josh touched on the way here. I was asking him, they must be running a hot wire, but are they running some kind of, like on the older Imperials and stuff, they have that solenoid that reduces it from 12 volts to 6 volts, or are they burning through a lot of ignition modules while they're doing that?
I haven't got that far into experimenting with it yet. One thing that everybody does tell me, you have to make sure you run a very large carburetor, at least a 600, to make sure there's enough fuel dumping into those cylinders.
Yep, because there's such small little
all they
bolts.
want. But as for ignition modules, haven't ran into it yet. Like I said, this past summer we really started researching it.
Is it a case out there? I mean, listening to just a little bit you've talked about what the modified landscape is with the compacts. Is it a case where the compact drivers feel disrespected by the large car drivers out there? I mean, that's one of the recurring things out here is the compact guys feel like they're looked down upon, and it's one of the things that we're trying to get Josh to stop doing because those guys are out there smashing cars too.
Well, I've only been I'm entering my 5th year Derby, and when I started, yes, I mean it was, the bottom feeders, high school kids didn't know what they're doing. Now, 5 years later, I talked to a lot of guys that won't get into a compact that have been running full size just because we hit a heck of a lot harder, they say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I notice is
Gaps narrowing.
The compact cars just
the second code.
The compact cars just pick up speed so fast, and I think that's kind of how it was. Is like when because I mean compacts still aren't as big around here as they are out west, but I mean it's definitely picking up. But when it first started, it was there wasn't the action there is now. But now these guys, I mean, Chris got some really good video last year down to Cuba where they said go and they made a teepee instantly with like 3 cars, and I mean stood them right up on the end of their bumpers.
Yeah, that was I can't think of the kid's name. It was from the Pennsylvania team. They had a 3-car, 3-team, 4 cars aside border war between New York, Pennsylvania, and a team from Canada. And as soon as they said go, they went crazy, and this Lumina ended up getting backed up into the berm at like 30 miles an hour and just stood right up on his nose and fell over sideways like in a cartwheel. It was crazy.
Yeah, they're definitely. I mean, they around here they've really picked it up. I mean, they're putting on a lot better shows. And I ran one smaller car once in the Pros versus Joes at our hometown, and it was a blast. The speed I could pick up, and I mean, I was driving the thing like an Imperial, and there was nothing wrong with the front of it when I got done. But I'm here to tell you, from what I've been seeing lately, I don't think I would build a compact car and go out and run, because I don't know if my old body.
You're not
could
building
take
anything. You're not building anything.
Decker, why don't you just sit over there?
You're not building nothing. Hey, real quick,
Dream.
what did Cuba pay for those? Does Cuba pay good?
I
for
think they paid $1,000 this year.
$1,000 or $1,200.
It's going to be. I believe it's going to be $1,200 this year for the compact division. The team show, I think, it might be a purse of $1,100.
Yeah. What was it when we went to Blizzard Bash? What were they paying compacts? Do you remember that?
Boy, I don't
remember either.
And there was two groups too. And the modified compacts, the guy that ended up getting second or third, or the guy that won it was in a Ford Ranger.
Yeah.
He was in a truck.
Those were
cars.
awesome.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Those were really cool. Now, I don't know how that was fair because they were going right over the top.
It was modified compacts. Apparently, you can run whatever you want to run.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't think that was fair, but it was pretty cool to watch them. It almost makes me want to build a little Ranger and
It's a pro mod 4-cylinder.
Go full track guy with it. You know,
Bring it.
No.
I mean, in Mike's situation, Mike has to run the stock bumper on your car at Waterloo. You pretty much bone stock, you chain it shut, just like what they do with the sixes at King's shows.
Yep. Yeah.
So you don't have the chance to do as much modification, kind of like some of the cars that you ran into at Canandaigua.
No, not at all. And I did some things at Canandaigua, and they kind of frown upon that. But
it's hard to believe you and your crew could possibly push the rules.
Oh, come on!
Not that I'd mention anybody, but it's just hard to believe that you and your crew would push the rules.
That was the adult compact show. It was 1,000 to win. It was a pretty good turnout show at Canandaigua at a local speedway, Canandaigua Motorsports Park, and it was essentially supposed to be I don't even know if you want to go as far as call it a limited weld show, but you guys were welding subframes in and doing some pretty crazy stuff to your cars.
Yeah, the rules were pretty vague, and we stretched them a little bit, and they let us know.
How many cars showed up for that?
There was 20, 25, I think 26, something like that.
It was a lot.
It was more than you would have thought.
The compact guys.
Get the mic.
Yeah, sorry. For the most part, compact guys right now are kind of in our area. I would say bitching a little bit because they're not getting paid a lot. It's like they're still fairs paying $200 to compact guys, which to me is just not right. But then you got a fair saying, okay, we'll step it up to $1,000, but only you get 20 cars. Yeah. I mean, that's really
it's a one and done.
Man, compact guys got to step up. If there's a place that's going to offer more money, you got to go there.
Yeah,
to,
absolutely.
Stop giving it to places that are giving you $200.
Yeah,
I know my home fair only. What's Broom pay, Guy? $300 to the compact.
This year, I don't really even recall.
Yeah, it was nothing.
I wasn't even out there this year. I don't know.
And I think they had 30 cars.
I got down to 4, but I wasn't really paying attention.
What are you guys doing for bumpers out there in Illinois, Ken?
Well, you see a lot of guys are getting in, buying the 74 to 76 Chevys. I mean, I own 3 of each, and a kid out of our shop, he's had success with cutting down the old Fords because those are a lot cheaper and easier to get a hand on. And then really, it's about 50-50 at shows. When you go to, I shouldn't even say that. When we go to a show, say there's 20 cars, there's 5 that are built. There's probably, I'd say, another 10 that doors are welded shut but still running a stock bumper. Then you got 5 that are chain and go, that no cage, no nothing. They move the tank and move the battery and go. That's all put together in one group.
And they let all them run together.
Yeah, that scares me as a driver sometimes. With my Luminas, we build like every driver does. You build to the rules and then try to find the gray area.
Absolutely.
Do you find yourself when you see a car that if you're in one of the moderate or even top tier builds when you're out there in that group of 20, do you find yourself lifting a little bit when you're going after those ones that are just chain shut, or do you just pile right through them?
Well, it depends on where I'm. If I'm going nose to nose, I don't lift one bit.
Nice.
Because I know they didn't weld anything, so I'm going to push that radiator in, and I hope it's bit me a couple times that I've gotten hung up doing that, and hopefully one of these years I'll learn from it.
But Kenny, you got to admit though, it's just so much fun when you line up and you're like this is it. This guy's going to get junked. And then you hit him, and you go, oh, man, that might not be good. And then when you throw it in reverse and you don't move, you're like, yeah, that's not such a good idea.
I've had that.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, Guy can relate to that. Now you've done both. You've run the stock bumpers and you've also run the heavier stuff on the front of your cars.
But I don't really run like a full blow modified. You know, I do weld the door shut. I do run a seat bar and put a decent bumper on the front because I do myself has a couple of 70 GM bumpers. But I don't really do the full mod thing. You know, I'm the type of guy that want to stick right to the old-fashioned way it is. Usually you can just stick a bumper on there. You don't add too much to it. Just stick it on there, bolt it, do whatever you can to hold it on. But I know there's guys that play back to where the K-frame molt's on there. They do a lot of crazy things. But that whole lifting thing, no, I don't even lift either. Happened to me at Black Rock.
Yeah, it's true. Now Mike's a patient driver, a very patient driver.
That was told me by one of my superior. Out there, I guess.
and is that by design? Like, is that a strategy thing where you want to pace yourself and save your car and stay hidden, or
it was this year at Waterloo, definitely. Jake Doyle actually told me. He said, just take your time, make every hit. Don't do anything dumb. Put yourself in a situation where you're gonna. Is he gonna be mad that you mentioned his name? No, I don't think so. not the king. Everybody knows the king. But I just try to pick my hits and keep my car in the nose in the corner or something like that. So I don't get hit in the front end.
Yeah, nothing could be worse than being junked by a stock car.
Without a doubt.
Ken, what do you got going on tonight? You said you got to get into a basketball game?
Yeah, I'm a high school girls basketball coach. And, forgot I had a game tonight when I told you I could do this. So.
That happens.
I'll work.
Well, is there any place that guys can go on Facebook to get a hold of you or to find out more about your shows? I don't want to make you late for your game. I know you were ready to go at 5:30 your time, 6:30 here. Yeah.
I've got a Facebook page at Kenny Kuehn there, Kuehn, last name, and I post quite a bit, and then occasionally you can find me at shows with a lot of the DI shows, because obviously they're big here in the Midwest with DerbyTees.com crew. They're actually from my hometown here, or home area, home county. So,
excellent. When's your first show of the season? Are you done running this year? Or you got another one lined up for this season?
No, we're done. Guys are trying kicking around Spring Explosion to be the first one of the year. There's a couple new shows that some guys are trying to put on here in the Central Illinois that we'll see. They haven't released rules yet, so we'll see how that goes.
Kenny, how many shows do you run a summer?
The last 2 years we ran about 8, and we like to run more. Sometimes it's just with the compacts, it may take more than a week in between shows to get them back on the road, or sometimes I go 3 weeks without touching them. Now,
how long does it take you to build one of your cars? Complete.
Yeah, and how much? What's invested?
That's kind of personal, but I'm just looking at time.
Well, really, there's not a whole. I don't have a whole lot. I got a good set of bar tractor tires I run on front. I got a set of 14s and a set of 15s. I've got an M&M Boys rollover tank, some high pressure fuel injection line, so I can run my lines right through. I eliminate everything underneath and just run them straight off the fuel injector through the cab. Full 4-point cage going all the way back to the speaker deck. They allow that at a lot of the shows I run. It's kind of gas tank protector, they call it.
Yeah.
More than that in the compact. And then really in a red top Optimum battery, and we run airplane fuel, which kind of saved me this year because I broke a fuel line, and you can see in the picture with that fuel burning so hot, there's about a 3-inch gap, so I didn't melt a single wire. All I had to do was fix the fuel line, and it fired up, and I won my next show 3 days later.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Airplane fuel and alumina.
Jet fuel and alumina. That's awesome.
Wow.
Have you tinkered at all? I know you got to get going here. Have you? Kenny's joining us on the DerbyParts.com hotline, by the way. We'll be catching up with Brad Cline here in just about 15 minutes or so. Ken, have you tinkered at all with the thought of getting one of those DPI cradles for the compact cars? I've started seeing some of the compact stuff. Hoffmeister's got some of that stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm more kicking out the idea. I haven't really got into it because we're working on possibly throwing together a Mustang or a Pacer this winter.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. A little old school.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Those Fox body Mustangs are nasty. That's what won. I think that's what won Hartford this year.
Yeah, that one was
Yep.
bone stock.
Was it?
It was the guy didn't really do anything. I looked at it and it's just a stock Mustang. Come
There
down
was
to him
some-
and his brother in a Chrysler.
Yeah.
There were some nasty ones at Bash also.
I'm sure.
There were some real nasty.
There was a couple tough Mustangs at Blizzard Bash too.
Kenny, have you run Mayhem before? They have a compact class, right?
I have not ran it yet. Like I said, my first 2 years derbying were I ran just a local fair. And, well, first year I got 6th, and they paid top 5.
That sucks.
Uh-huh.
That sucks.
My first Lubina, I got 3rd, and I was bet from there, and we ran about 8 to 10 shows every summer since then.
That's cool.
Mayhem it's Mayhem. Well, let's see. 2 years ago they didn't even have a compact class, so we're always a little hesitant, but we're leaning towards getting one put together this year. Probably have a Lumina out there.
That's cool.
Excellent.
That's cool. I know the year I went out there 2010, and their compact show was a guy showed up with a Ford Fairmont and another like bigger car, and the smaller stuff like the Luminas and stuff like that. They junked those guys first, and then decided it amongst themselves. It was a good show. They put on a good show out there. They
Rural drives is like showing up at Imperial. Sometimes you got a big target on your back.
Absolutely.
They always know what they are.
and those guys put on a show. They weren't out there playing bumper cars. They said go, and those guys were going.
That's the thing that I love about Shenandoah County. Those compact guys there, they run 4s by themselves and they run 6s by themselves. And they run on Monday night and they run on Tuesday night down in Woodstock, Virginia. And they hit harder than any other division at the show. The 6s are the most fun. Every year we've been down there, at least once, 2 6s have backed up, gone back to back so hard that they both come off the ground and spin, 90 degrees. It's cool.
I could, like I said, I've said before, I think I could deliver those shots, but man, I wouldn't want to get hit like that. That's just, that does not look fun at all.
Well, Kenny, and I'm watching the clock and I'm getting nervous for you. You got about 4 minutes. I'll let you go get back to the team, do your pep talks, and we wish you the best of luck in your game tonight.
All right. Thank you much.
I appreciate it, Ken. We'll talk soon.
Yes. Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Bye now.
Hey, real quick, I don't know what's up with the lights in here, but I'm looking at the TV screen and I look like Casper, the friendly ghost. He's look at him, look at the lights, got me like white. Turn it down.
Not for nothing, but is Decker really worried about his look?
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
Look,
Wow.
when
You're not here for the looks. We know that.
We're talking derby, and Decker's worried about what he looks like on TV.
Well, I was kind of thinking to myself, when you walk in at 5 minutes before showtime, there's no time to go through makeup.
Hey, we were
Hey, are we sneaking in on the prima donna territory, or
No, we don't want to call him a prima donna because that would interrupt us calling him a derby diva.
oh, okay.
Derby Diva. Wait, at first I thought we were firing Brian. I thought that was the first thing on our list.
I may get him a nice shirt, pink shirt with like bedazzled that says Derby Diva.
Bedazzled?
Wouldn't that be
What is this,
awesome?
1989?
Wouldn't that be awesome to see him in a nice bedazzled
Easy
shirt?
bake oven. Just shut up, Brian.
Easy bake oven.
You know all about the easy bake, don't you, Decker?
I just bought one for my daughter, actually.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Man, so Ken's got some stuff working out there. He was talking about how many shows he runs. Guy, you're out there at 6-8 shows a year.
Yeah,
He said Leaf Spring Luminos. I don't know if we all heard that.
I heard that too.
Can you even imagine that? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that would bend most
Why?
anything back
in Steve Bucknam, Steve from SB Motorsports Announcing, he keeps an eye on the DerbyParts.com live chat for us and kind of flips us comments and stuff. And there's nothing that we've ever talked about on the show that he didn't already do first. In 1998, he leaf sprung a Toyota Celica. You can believe that. He just
why? What the hell are you doing?
Is it the idea of those cars to have the rear end right up to like the back seat and tires not actually moving? And
I know the shows in Dunkirk, those cars are always completely folded. I mean, the back ends are just vaporized. The back tires are sitting like TPs, and the trunk lids are stuffed right on top of the friggin' dashboards. They're all folded up like crazy.
awesome.
But those guys out there generally only run out there. They run on 2 or 3 times a year. Mike, you ran 3 times this year.
Oh yeah, I ran Waterloo, ran State Fair, Canandaigua, and Black Rock.
Oh, so you got 4 in there.
4 times.
Then how many did you run?
I've been to
13?
Broome.
13?
I'm going on 13, I think. I've been to Broome, Tioga. I went to the state fair myself, both figure eights and full size. Black Rock. I think that's really it for this year. But I went to most of those shows double, triple times.
Right.
You know, like every show they have, I went there because it's all localized. You know.
Well, that worked out good for you going multiple times at Black Rock because you got to smash an RV.
Yeah, that was awesome. I will never tell that again. I will do that in a heartbeat. That was one of the coolest things I've ever done. Looked like a teepee when I was done.
Because the body was falling off the frame.
The only thing holding me up was that little cabinet behind me.
Yeah. The only thing keeping everybody else from hitting you would have been you putting your hand out.
Well, when me and Vern went headlight to headlight that last time, I remember both windshields cracking, and I seen him leaning over the front as my gas tank is pouring gas everywhere. And I'm looking over there going, what are we doing? So what I do, I reach down, grab the tank, put the tank back up, stuff the hose in it, grab the battery. By that time, they said, oh, you're done. And I'm like, done? The gas is still in there.
100% the most dangerous derby I've ever been involved in.
Oh,
100%.
God,
yeah, Brian, you were right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was gas everywhere, batteries right next to gas cans, people falling out of their RVs.
Plastic.
No, we're still
Yeah.
smashing. No one cared.
That was one of the craziest, funnest times I've ever had.
It was cool to see
was
all of
nuts.
us guys that sometimes go against each other. We're all out there just laughing, having a good time because no one cared. I mean, we were all tracking each other. No one cared.
We were
That
hitting
was
before
fun.
they started, Josh. When we were lining us up, I could not stop. I had no brakes. He
You
come
just ran
behind
right into me.
I ran right into him. I used him to line me up.
Yeah, that was a nice. That was fun. That was a good time to watch.
I'll do it again.
It was fun.
You ever gonna drive an RV?
After watching that, I don't think so. Not for a
No,
while.
not interested. Not interested, huh?
Not
Hey,
for a while.
is there anybody that taped that show? If people are interested in buying a DVD to
I taped it. My wife has it.
to get out there and purchase maybe.
Yeah. Mel Thomas is the track videographer there. Is
All
that
right, just check?
Just go to my Facebook page. You'll see it right on there. You see Vern fall out of his RV and keep going.
no? Smashed Empire Film should have that out here probably by I don't know, week and a half or so. I would say.
Just checking.
Yep. Yeah, we were there. We had an in-car camera in Richie's. That was oof.
I heard you had to pay somebody extra to put that M-car camera in.
I didn't pay anybody.
Really?
Nope.
Oh.
I didn't have to pay a soul.
We had to pick numbers for those RVs, right? And they're all hunk of junks, right? Richie picks number 4, whatever. We walk out there. Richie's is the only one with I-beams all the way across the front. Steel solid I-beams. The rest of us got these junk things, and he's got,
We're all sitting there going, why would he get
Yeah,
that
of course
one?
Richie gets that one.
We were looking at it like, oh, God.
And the first shot he manages to knock his own motor out. Hard
Yeah.
to believe Richie did something like
That's
that.
awesome.
Hard to believe Richie Predmore would knock his own motor out in one
That's
shot.
awesome. That
Oh
is
wait, he knocked his motor out of his own Imperial in the future too, because he was hitting people from, Bologna and Black Rock. So yeah, it's hard to believe.
I saw that setup. I went and looked at his car afterwards. Pretty amazing. I mean, he was hitting. There's nothing else could have done that.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
No, the fun part was, and I probably should have volunteered to have a camera for Chris, but as I was standing right by the track, there'd be a
Before you finish that thought, Chris tried to give you a camera, and you said, I'm not a video guy. And you walked away.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
Like.
I forgot that part. But
I didn't.
all of a sudden, everybody would be in a pile in the middle of that track, and then Richie would back as far away as he could, like right past the, out of bounds markers and everything. And you'd see him grab on the steering wheel with both hands. And he'd come into that pile at about 40, and then he'd back up and do the same thing. And then it must look like fun because Brett started doing it too. It was.
You notice how John King's kids, they'll run out in front of me, or they don't run in front of Richie. Richie ain't stopping. Richie's not stopping.
No, they'll. Hey, a man's got to know his limitations, and you just don't jump right out in front of Richie.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Good chance you're going to be jumping back out of the way as he comes by at 40 with that Imperial.
I want someone to run a speedometer in their car so that we can actually find out how fast people are hitting, because
You won't know it because all you'll have tires spin.
Yeah, you'll have tire spin.
Yeah,
I can tell you
let's
this.
put it in mind. We'll do it.
I can tell you this. One year, I went to Waterloo for they had a small circus. So we took the kids down, and after it was over,
where'd you going with this?
just listen. We actually parked on the track, and so we've always talked about hitting each other at 40 at Waterloo. It's just one of those things. So we just bought our new Durango. So I said to my son, I said, "Hey, You want to see if we can do 40 at Waterloo? And he's like, yeah. So we started at one end of the track, and by the time I was at the other end of the track where the track ends, I was running 40. So you can legitimately run 40 at Waterloo.
And die.
Or kill someone.
You die.
Yeah.
No.
So realistically, Mike, how fast do you think you were going when you were hitting people?
I don't know, 25, maybe. I don't know.
8, maybe 9.
I was gonna say you're not even that fast.
Come on, I want to talk myself up. I don't want to sound like a sandbag. Come on.
No, Sandbagger's half a mile an hour.
We got Brad Cline from down in Dayton, Virginia, joining us on the DirtyParts.com hotline. Brad, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, good. We were just talking a little bit about how fast people are going in their compact cars when they're making their hits. What do you think you're topping out at when you're piling into guys at in Shenandoah County, Virginia?
I don't know. I'd say probably 15, 20.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Maybe a little faster.
And it's deceptive because that track is so short. The Shenandoah County track is really narrow, and it's not that long. But you've only got 6 or 7 cars out there, and they have some room to work with. There was Ricky Kibler's car. There's a picture of it up on the Smashed Empire Films Facebook page. Ricky Kibler got hit in the passenger doors of his Lumina, and his roll cage bar pushed out through the doors and pierced the core support of the car that hit him.
No.
It was the doors and everything were pushed right to the tunnel. It was pretty crazy.
Yep.
What are you working on right now? I know you got some plans. You're working with Brian Schumann and Mangled Metal, trying to put some stuff together for May 10th. And so how are things going out there with that?
We're trying to get 10 teams, 3-man on a team, big compact show. We got about 8 teams so far lined up. We just need 2 more, and we get 2 more, the show will be on. It's going to be a $3,500 payout.
$3,500.
Yep.
That's
Decker's scared. Let's just call it out.
I
Decker's
like the
scared.
sound of that money, but I
Decker's
don't.
scared.
I don't like the
Josh, just say it. It's okay. The first part is admitting the problem. Just say I'm
Jesus.
scared.
Guys over here looking for those guys to say, yeah, we're in.
I'm looking like an MM rule.
Yeah.
Mini mods. That's what I see.
What's the build rules that they're going to use down there, Brad?
We're going to do a full weld, pretty much run anything. Just go nuts on them, build them pretty much like the outlaw cars and stuff.
Now, when you say outlaws, what's the relative term for outlaws? We were out at Blizzard Bash, and we saw a 68 300 that had a diamond plate all over the entire existence of his body.
5 layers deep.
Yeah.
Not going to be quite like that, but just full weld, trunk solid, wedge them, whatever.
Like what they had at those compact rules last May. Same idea.
Well, they didn't let us seam weld and do all that stuff. We're trying to get them to let us do all that. Do a little more plating and whatnot.
Are you getting into running any of the cradles and bolt-on equipment the way that the big cars are in your compact stuff?
Not really sure.
You're not going to run cradles yet?
No, I don't believe.
I'm surprised. I mean, it just seems like that's sort of like the next natural step for this modified compact build to go. I mean, the parts are out there; they've got them.
The only thing I would be concerned as, and I'll be the old guy here, is that
Yeah, you will.
when you start building the compacts tougher and tougher and tougher, the big cars, when you build them full weld, I mean there's obviously some pretty wicked hits and they can take a lot, but you're going so fast with those compacts, you get something that doesn't bend, and that's more abuse that the driver's going to take.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean those cars realistically are running all of probably 20, 25, maybe even hit 30.
Those squishy parts inside really bounce around when you're getting that fast.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing. I mean I'll sound soft or whatever, but I mean I'm sure it'd be cool to watch, but I wouldn't want to see anybody get hurt. I mean that would seriously be a concern for the overbuilding of a car.
Well, we were talking to Brad last night, actually, and Brad was telling me that down in Virginia they put pieces of wood behind the gas pedal so the guys can't press it because they're scared of going on full speed. Right, Brad? Can you confirm that? Is that true?
No, I'm not going to confirm. That's what maybe you said. I'm usually cutting the floor out a little bit more.
Nice.
The Clines actually have a pretty big history in the Virginia Derby scene. Steve knows the Cline. Steve Buckton. He mentioned that he rolled a Cadillac with that Leaf Celica at Claremont Speedway. But Brad's family was involved with the IDDA Derby in Virginia in 2004. And I mean, Brad, we met a couple of years ago at Shenandoah County, and we've kind of stayed in touch quite a bit. They do a lot with smashing cars down there.
Yeah, we get around a little bit.
Brad, did you post this today a picture of your first Derby car? Was a Newport or Chrysler? Was that you that I saw?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was I ran that thing. I believe I was 15 years old. Ran it at Page County. Yeah, it was a Newport.
And your family's mostly GM or Mopar?
Mostly. I mean, my uncle and my dad, they was always into Mopar, New Yorkers, and whatnot. And then we sort of
Just hope yet.
running Impalas. I won my first Derby in a '74 Impala. Yeah.
So why did you opt to go with the compacts? I mean, in all my time that I've known, you've been kind of compact heavy.
Just changing it up a little bit. I wanted to see how it felt, get into it a little bit, see how it was. I actually enjoy it a little more than running the big car. It's a lot harder hitting. You move faster. It's more fun. But
Kind of like expanding the family business.
yeah,
Nice. That's cool. How many compact shows do you try to run a year?
I try to run as many as I can. But this coming year, probably just a team one. And then Shenandoah, I'd like to get down to Shenandoah and run again. Maybe Rockingham. That's probably going to be it.
Do you have a compact you prefer, or do you just wreck anything?
Just whatever.
That's cool.
Whatever I can get my hands on.
That's cool.
Now, Guy, you're big on Luminous. Is that something that you'd be interested in building a car and going down for that team show?
I would if I can afford to go that far.
Yeah.
It's quite a ways hike for me, especially for a compact car, unless...
Talk to Josh Decker. He's looking to sponsor this year.
He's
Obviously,
I
he's too
can't
scared
afford
to
what I'm trying
drive.
to do. I can't afford
Yeah,
what I'm
plus
doing.
for a compact show, even for $3,500, I don't know if it's worth going that far, You go down that far, and I don't know the territory. I don't know how the guys build. You build a car here, you might think it's tough. You go down there, you get junked in 5 minutes. It's not worth the effort nor the time.
If you won $3,500, it would pay for the next 35 years of you derbying, though.
Yeah, but if someone like me who's never left the area and I go down there, it's like taking like
A knife to a
I was
gunfight.
I was told by like Richie and those guys when they went over to Ohio, they did really well, but they had no clue what they were building against at the time.
It's a very good point.
So my whole thing is I just don't want to go down there and get chewed up and have all that time. And for me, money is a big thing. I use one car to invest into another car and into another car.
Absolutely.
And with the little cars, you can do that. You buy one, you have fun with it, you junk it, you win, you lose, you just buy another one. That's the way I am. That's the way we've always been. I transitioned from big cars to little cars, only because of the skills. Everything went from being just a normal stock car, weld motor mounts in the bumper, to whole, like you guys are saying over there when you guys went to that Blizzard Bash, and some of the cars around here are getting pretty nasty too. I can't contend with that, So I'm running little cars where, I can do a bumper or I can do a seat bar and maybe once in a while do some tractor tires, but I just can't contend with those. I do good with stock cars. That's my show.
Right.
That's cool.
How about you, Brad? I mean, do you prefer the stock build, or do you want to get the opportunity to build some of that heavier stuff?
I'd rather build it.
Yeah.
If it was me. I mean, I've never ran a stock show. I've thought about it. They're supposed to be having a stock show back in May. I've got a Crown Vic laying around I might throw together and bring it and the compact, but really haven't made my mind up.
Right. I mean, what about you, Mike? Do you prefer not having to spend all that time with a welder and having to track down a good bumper and just running stock rules, or do you want to have the opportunity to build them?
It goes both ways. I mean, sometimes with the 4 cylinders, I'd rather just leave it stock. But like the Canandaigua show with the Taurus, I didn't mind building that, putting a heavy bumper on it. But
Cheating.
come on, ain't cheating.
What bumper was on the front of that?
Actually, I had a bumper off of Fifth Ave.
Yeah.
So I put the bumper way too low though. Just they drove over the top of it, but it didn't fall off. Let's put it that way.
I guess that's good.
Brad, are you getting more than one run out of these modified compacts, or are you still just getting one run out of these guys? Or are you getting to run one 4 or 5 times throughout the summer?
The one I ran last May, I got 2 runs out of that one. So, I mean, usually just 1 or 2.
That was Josh Wilkins, who won the first night at Shenandoah County this year. he had a wedged. I want to say it was a wedged. Might have been a wedged Lumina.
Yeah, it was a Lumina.
And he brought that back the second night, and it didn't make it. It didn't make it through the second show. So down there, the way that they drive, especially in Shenandoah County, as hard as they drive in Woodstock, if you're running it again, it's because something happened.
But on a compact, like on a V8, if you're going to go to an outlaw derby, you can fix the back of it. You can make the back stronger. Really, on a compact, how much truly stronger can you make that back area, Guy? Can you?
It all depends on how much ambition you have and how much money you have. You can do whatever you want with a compact, really.
I can't imagine. I see them guys running them like Imperials frontwards, but really, you can't get a lot of shows out of them because when the backs start shoving up in the tires and stuff,
no matter what you do, there are only 1 or 2 runs. I'm being honest. No matter who you are, if you sit there on the internet and you talk and say, "Oh, I got 4 runs out of this car," I got 6 runs out of that car. Most of it's because something stupid broke.
Right.
I'm not saying you get 4 full runs. You might get 3. The most I've ever had on one car is I ran 3, and that was a Lumina. And by the 3rd time, I let Robbie took it in the feature a couple years ago, back in, I think, like 2010 or something. I let Robbie run it, and that car was so used up, the only reason he hopped in is because it still ran.
Right.
There was nothing left of that car. The back tire was tucked underneath it. The front bumper was so high up it could have touched the front pillars. And he still took it out there, only because he wanted to run it and try what a 4-cylinder was. And after that, he said he's never run another one.
He didn't fit in it.
No, there was no room there.
That's a big dude to put in a little car.
I mean, how many runs are you getting out of your car, Mike?
The one in Seneca County, I just ran just that one, but the Canandaigua car could have probably ran again. The back end packed in real nice. I always take the trunk decks off.
Mm-hmm.
In Canandaigua, you could weld the trunk, so I welded that down, and a couple other things I did. I actually ended up taking off because I thought it would be too strong. So, but I didn't want it to hurt me and go down in the dirt. But it packed in nice, the Taurus did. But I probably could have ran that again. But I actually got that car from my sister-in-law. She gave it to me, so I had to junk it and give her the money.
Well, that's where I'm a strong believer. Some of the cars, you can't build them like you want to. You sit there and you look at it and go, "Wow, I'm going to make this car really good." Well, you can't do that because in a compact car, they are made to be compact. When you try to force something that's not, you end up with junk. So why would you even want to spend the time nor the effort on making it tough? Yeah, you get 2, maybe 3 runs, but by that time you could have built another car for another show.
Right. Keep bringing fresh cars.
That's why I do that. I feel that it's easier just to recycle one into the other. There's so many compact cars out there, and they're running them all together, 6s and 4s in most places. So just buy another car.
Right.
Start over.
Brad, are cars easy to find for you down there where you're at?
Compacts are. The older stuff, there's still a few around, but everybody's gathering them up. I know a dude that lives not a mile down the road from me. He's got 100, 150 cars down there.
Who's that?
Can I come down and meet him?
Billy.
Oh, Billy? Yeah. yeah, that's true. He does.
It's
Old Iron?
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, Brad, let me come down and hang out with you sometime this
You might be
winter.
confused, Josh. You might have little old iron.
Little Old Iron?
Little Old Iron.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
He's got 70. He's got some.
Some Pintos.
He's got 60.
Pacers.
He's got 60, 79 Celicas that you can lease for him.
You're crazy, Steve.
I almost have a sister to a Celica at home.
What's that?
I got a Cressida.
What?
It's a Cressida.
My mom used to have a Cressida.
Station wagon?
Oh,
Yeah.
Cressida station wagon, rear-wheel drive with the dual overhead cam straight 6. That car is, my God, that's nuts. I peeled the tires out so much my garage looked like it was a fog storm. That was nuts.
One of the first Gremlins I've ever seen run that I can remember it being a Gremlin I saw this year up in Malone. Joey Foster, who ended up winning the show in a Buick, had a 6-cylinder, and that was pretty cool. That was cool to see. And I'm blanking on his name. There was a guy that had one at the Northeast Championships. It was a Eagle wagon.
Brett ran a Gremlin.
That's
for a
what.
while.
That's what Andy beat me last year with. He had an MC Eagle. That was a straight 6.
You had a Pacer, didn't you, Josh?
Yeah.
I never ran it though.
I had a Gremlin.
He had a Gremlin.
No, I sold it to Corey. No, but Brett had a Gremlin. He ran one time. He must have run it like 8 compact shows that summer. I don't know if you guys remember it, Guy?
I remember that's the year I
Man,
ran
it
the
sounded like
wagon.
a hunk of crap because it couldn't even get out of its own way, but it wasn't bending either. I mean, they were hitting it.
I remember that year.
Yeah.
That was the year I made the feature my first time, and I had a Chevy Cavalier wagon, the old 86 square body, and that thing was tough. But I remember that year going out there, everybody was in the pits saying we had to get that, and we went out there, and sad to say the next year, I think Brett ran a Mustang 2 or whatever, and they just, every time one of those rear-wheel drive 4-cylinders got out there, and everybody's like, we got to get that. And it's like, you guys do what you got to do. I stayed back. I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah. Brett turns it on.
It was Joe Myers that had that eagle. Steve came in to save me. There's not a whole lot of the rear wheel drive cars down there. I think it was the Shipe guys that had the Ford Fairmont. He ran that a couple times, but you don't see a whole lot of rear wheel drive 4-cylinder cars down there, do you?
No, you don't. You're talking about the blue Fairmont, right? Last May.
Yeah, he had one there, and then he had something else similar to it at Woodstock as well. The boy that got hit in the driver's door, and they ended up taking him out in the ambulance.
That was like the first one that we've pretty much had run around here. That was rear-wheel drive. Yeah, you don't see them much at all. A couple of years back, I think a boy had a Pacer, I believe, and did okay. But other than that, no, you don't see them.
Why is that?
I'm really surprised by that.
I don't know.
I'm thinking you don't see them because back when
Hands on a few.
Scrap first jumped, the 4-cylinders weren't that big, you know what I mean? They were just chain and go. When nobody built them, they all just wanted the money, so they hauled them. You know what I mean? There's a lot. I remember seeing a lot of little Ford Mustang 2s hauled to the junkyard back in the early 90s.
Sure.
A lot of them. I've seen hundreds of them.
But I think in Virginia, you'd think in Virginia.
What are you
New
trying
York
to say?
guys, you guys, New York guys, thinking of Virginia, all I can picture in my head is fields of old iron, you know. But you got to think there's got to be a bunch of. You're saying no, it's not like that, Brad.
They're all at Billy's house.
Yeah, well, I got to get over there.
Yeah, we go
Billy's
ahead
and my
on
uncles.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Billy and your uncle's got more than enough to.
Ton.
Well, Brad, hook us up here. Come on.
Come on, we'll trade you some really good rusted, beautiful New York metal
All right.
for some of that nice
Some
southern
fresh salted steel.
never seen salt steel. We'll swap up whenever you want.
Guaranteed they run good, though, up here, though.
All right.
That's the difference. They can run good, but they won't be.
Are you still toying with the idea of coming up here and running sometime?
I would love to this coming year. Yeah, I would like to come up and run broom with y'all.
I dare you.
Don't dare them, dude.
Is that helping? Is that motivating you?
Well,
I dare you.
You're not
Do
going
it.
to.
Josh will be standing on the sidelines watching. He'll tell you good job before, or good luck before, and good job after. But
I'll pay your. I'll tell you what. If you come, I'll pay your entry fee, and I'll buy you beers the whole night. How about that?
All right. That sounds good.
But if you come up though, you got to bring some of that good Virginia moonshine up with you. Did I say that over the airwaves?
Yeah.
I think you can. I think that's legal.
That's illegal.
Oh, there's because I'm sure down there somewhere you might know somebody that might have some moonshine.
What are you doing?
He's trying to bait and felon
Don't
or
listen
something.
to him, Brad.
Well, that would be great if Brad came up because he'd get to run against Guy at least, and maybe we could talk Mike into coming down. We know that Decker won't be getting into a compact. He's already made that pretty clear.
How about this?
What?
If Brad comes, I'll get in a compact.
Yeah, but
I just said it.
yeah, but you're gonna make him bring it for you.
Oh. No, I promise. I'll build my own.
No.
I promise.
Guy
I'll
would
build
have
my
to
own.
build Decker one.
I
Decker's
actually
gonna,
would-
I don't
was
know
just-
what's going
I
on,
was
man. You
just
gotta help
thinking,
me
I
out,
know I can
Guy.
pay Guy to do it.
Not like I haven't built enough of them to
Yeah,
share for
Guy would
everybody.
definitely do it.
Do you,
Come on up.
Brad? Do you get in a situation where you're building cars for other drivers, or do you just build for yourself?
No, I mean I really don't get into that. I got a buddy of mine that he runs, so I mean it's pretty just me and him that do it. So,
Guy supplies the better half of the southern tier with compacts.
Yeah, I'm not trying to, but it's just I try. I'm an easy person to get along with. Everybody's like, "Hey, you want to build me a car?" I go, "I guess." And like they say, I heard a couple shows back, it's chess. You know, a lot of things are chess. You know, if you build a car, I don't feel comfortable being in somebody else's car, anyways. So, I guess why not have someone like me build a car? You know, around this area, I'm one of the better builders. So, I guess if you can drive one of my cars, you can drive any car.
yeah.
Then can you build me one?
What do you want? Alumina?
Doesn't matter. Just build me one.
I think if he's gonna bring one of those rear-wheel drives, you need alumina.
No, he's bringing front wheel.
Fine, and I'll build you a little Ford Festiva.
He wants.
I'll run it. I'll run it.
I know exactly what he wants. He wants a Leaf Cressida.
You mean Cressida?
Whatever.
Cressida Toyota.
That's English. I'm sure you took that at one point in your life.
Yeah, like they say, if you
Media
can't
guy.
they say, yeah, Cressida. They say if you can't get a GM, find yourself an import.
Yep. I'll run anything. Come on, Brad. Come up here. I'll run with you.
All right. Planning on it.
Brad never sounds excited about anything.
Come on, Brad. Get excited.
Huh?
Said you never sound excited about anything. Every time I talk to you, it's like you're just like, well, you know, you're pretty even keeled. You never get too up, you never get too down.
I'm just pretty mellow. I don't get too excited.
You and Guy would get along good. Guy never gets excited.
No, not until I get behind the wheel.
That does change things.
I get behind the wheel, and I think I jumped my car in his car this year.
Yeah, I think you're trying to change the antifreeze a couple times.
No, I seen an Escort hit me, and I just said, the hell with it. I just let it go. I junked it perfectly good, mint-free freaking Corsica, one shot. Done. I went home, cut the serpentine belt, fired right up. I was kind of pissed. Locked the pulley right solid. Didn't move. That's all that happened to it. Nothing else. Thing folded perfectly. His Escort, I thought I junked it, but nope. He pulled away. I sat there like an idiot.
And you didn't, Brad, you didn't run Shenandoah County this year, right?
No, I didn't run.
Brent?
I came down Tuesday night and helped my uncle out.
And then Brent had a car there, didn't he?
Who?
Brent Snyder had a car there.
Yeah, he ran Monday night, I believe.
Yeah.
Are we going down there?
Those two. Yeah, we can go. I'm going.
I might go with you.
You drive and I'm going.
There might be room. Depends. The Smashed
Taking
Empire.
that car.
I'm going to say I'm not a very big guy. I can
The
sit in
Smashed
car.
Empire Films Mobile has not got a lot of room.
There's not enough room, and I'm not taking it's got to be like 8 hours down there.
Josh can get a rent-a-car.
7 hours.
Yeah, it's 8 hours down.
Yeah,
Thereabouts.
we'll take my truck.
You and Josh could snuggle like you did going to Kansas.
What are the odds of being able to have a 6-cylinder ready for Josh
I'll
if
send
he
money
showed
down.
up?
I'll send
He'll
money
send money
down.
down.
It could possibly happen.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll PM you tonight.
What about
I'll send you a check in the mail.
what about Mark Wolf? Does he build any compacts? I know he builds cars all over the place.
I'm not sure if he'll build any compacts. I know he's working on a Lincoln right now for down there for next year.
You guys get along?
So, I guess.
I tell you, I think there's more grudges in compact class than there
That
are
boy,
big
Chris,
cars.
stir it up.
I really do.
Chris is just trying to sell DVDs stolen for you.
No, those guys don't. Those guys don't run at the same divisions. Guy has a point. What you just said. Say it again so everybody can hear you. And Brian's not walking on you.
Yeah, what I just said, though, is I think that most of the compact cars, they have more of a little grudge going than the big cars do, only because we don't have anything in there. For us, it's more pride than money, I think really the little cars, just people's feelings get hurt, We're all trying to go out there and put on a good show, and just nobody can get along, The only people that get along are family.
I'm gonna be the opposite of that. Okay.
Go ahead, debate it.
Because I'm gonna. Would you be more upset about losing $100 or $3,000? No, that's all I'm gonna look at that.
Yeah,
grudge-wise, because I get pretty angry sometimes.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. What if you lost it to your brother?
Well, yeah, that would.
He doesn't like his brother. He'd be pissed.
No, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's most people, but I'm just saying, though, you go down there with a group of 3 cars and all 3 of your brothers, and you're going to run together, but they're only going to pay 1 or 2, and one of your brothers are going to have hard feelings. I don't care who you are.
I can tell you this. After talking to Josh at the end of Whitney Point this year, he was pretty upset. So it was. Man. He was not a happy Josh after that show.
I drank so much beer that night. I was so angry.
Did you go to work the next day?
No, I did not.
What about you, Mike? I mean, what's your take on it? Is there as much drama in the compacts as the full size guys?
I don't know. I've only been around it for a few years, and I've seen some of the drama at Waterloo, and
there's drama at Waterloo.
It kind of gets out of control sometimes.
Yeah, it's worse than big cars.
In the big cars or in the small cars?
In the big cars. And then, at Waterloo this year, somebody, I guess there was a person in the stands. I don't want to mention the guy's name, but I sat in the corner. I did this. I did that. He's coming with a 4-cylinder next year to take me out. So I don't know.
I love that.
I don't know.
We'll at least he's warning you.
You got to get a car, I guess, and see if he shows up first.
At least he told you ahead of time. At least you know.
Well, he told somebody else, and they told me. So
so he still hasn't told you.
Black Rock was good to come down to me. My friend Jamie Eldridge. So it was fun there. And but the teaming up thing, we dealt with that at Canandaigua.
Right.
Brian told us, there's 10 of you here from Seneca County. Don't be teaming up on the guys from Buffalo. And then it gets down to Donnie Hartzell and Howie Charette, and there's 2 guys from Buffalo. They didn't even hit each other. So if anything, the teaming up from them guys. So that kind of made us a little angry. But what are you going to do?
Right.
It's all part of the game.
Everywhere you go now. Everywhere you go.
What about you, Brad? Final thought on that? Is the drama that seems so prevalent in Derby, is it more common in the big cars, or is it starting to infiltrate the small cars now too?
Down here, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, compacts are starting to really get more serious for sure. It's quite a couple guys wanting to come after us in May, and we was like, whatever, just bring your cars and show up.
Bring your cars and pack a lunch because you're going to have to work all day, right?
Yep.
I haven't heard that.
No?
I like that.
No. I heard that from the service manager when I was working in Salem, Virginia at James River Equipment. Butch Goad. Best boss I ever had.
Shout out.
No. It's not a shout out because he doesn't know this show exists.
If you don't, he probably does now, right?
No, I don't think he does. It's gonna be you're gonna have to connect a lot of dots to get Butch Goad connected to a computer watching this. Excellent. Well, we're right at the top of it, Brad. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Is there any place that anything you want to make mention of? How people can find out more about that team show that you're trying to get going at Rockingham?
If they want to know more information about it, it's posted on We Crash under the MMP show, or go to their Facebook page, Mangle Metal Productions, and that's the only way I know how to tell them to find out information about it.
Sounds good to me. We sure appreciate you coming and hanging out with us for a little while tonight, and hope you had a good time. We look forward to talking with you again soon, and Josh will be getting you that money that he owes you for that car that you're building for him for August.
I mean, that's serious. 100% serious.
Tell him, Decker, if I come up there to Broome, you're going to have to help me toss out T-shirts.
Done. Let's do it. We'll hire some girls to do it, actually. Done.
Well, there you have it. We just keep bringing people together.
Bringing people together, man.
United the
Matchmakers.
Derby Nation.
Yep. Brad, thanks a lot, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks for having me on.
Thanks a lot.
I'll tell you right now, those guys, I'm calling you out, Brad, because I bet when you get down to Virginia, there's just cars and cars and cars and cars and cars, and all these guys are just saying it so everyone stops driving down there. It's got to be it.
No, because if every couple miles somebody's got a collection of 100, they are a Derby guy isn't going to sell them. So they're probably the prices probably started going up, and they went, you know what, whoop, and put them in their backyard.
That could be true, but when we went to Kansas, we literally drove down this highway, and we just seen Shocker, Newport, Monaco, Chrysler wagon. I mean, there was Chryslers everywhere on the side of the road. We were on a main highway.
And you didn't bring any back. Why?
Because there was no trailer behind the truck, Brian.
And I was
U-Haul
exhausted and
rents them
delusional.
anywhere.
We were delusionally exhausted by that time.
Brian,
you were probably seeing double, right?
We were.
That was brought up. That U-Haul would rent a trailer.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Where do you think we can find a U-Haul trailer at 3 a.m.
on a Sunday night? But you know what? I'm telling you, if we go down to Virginia, I will take my trailer down there because we could come up with something. That's not a bad ride home.
Hands down. No, that's an easy drive too. From here, I usually just shoot down 15, pick up 81, and from 81 you take a left off of 81, and you're at the fairgrounds. It's one of the easy.
I'd like to go with you if you can put me on that one.
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, by all means. Yep. Anybody.
They look like a good derby. I'd just like to get down there and see what it's like down there.
You saw the highlights, right?
Yeah. No, it looks good. It looks really good.
You'll have a chance to meet. You'll have a chance to meet Mark Wolf and Sean Gokenauer too.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Yep.
Definitely.
Plan on it.
That's cool.
Actually, if Guy builds a car,
Oh, yeah.
you ready for this? Build a car. We can put it on the trailer and take it down. He can run it,
Junk it.
junk it, leave it there, and
And we'll bring a
bring home a new
Chrysler
one.
back. Let's do it, Guy.
You're almost going to guarantee my car's going to be junk.
Well, yeah,
we're leaving it down there no matter what.
I'm
just leaving it there.
I'm better
You
off
get a flat tire and not run it.
We're leaving it there.
I'm just saying I'm better off just running into the wall if I go down there.
yeah, just drive into something hard.
Yeah, okay, yep, it was fun. Let's go
Either
home.
that, worst case. So let's say it doesn't get totaled. You could sell that. Just sell it. Sell it to somebody down there.
Yeah, they're going to look at me and laugh. What are they
No,
going
they're
to give me,
not.
pennies?
No, they're not. Well,
Here.
I mean, they might give you pennies. I don't know. That's for you.
No, but at that fair, is roughly like our fair's rules, right, Chris? Or that's where they're going to have modified. Oh no, they're
It's
built.
not like our fair.
So why is everybody trying to kill the combat guys?
Just come
Why-
down
what
there.
do
You're
you
going to take
trying
one
to
of our best drivers up here down there to get
kill
killed.
you. You're not getting killed.
I run stock cars.
Chris,
I run stock cars.
You can build. You
Don't
can
be
build.
scared.
I'm not scared, but I don't have a shot.
Listen. You're not understanding. We wouldn't have suggested that you go down there and run if we didn't think that you would be able to compete.
I know, but I'm just
realistically.
saying.
Come on. I mean,
You might have one less seat coming back.
You're We don't want that either. But I mean, I don't think you're gonna get hurt down there.
I'm not saying I'm gonna get hurt. I'm just saying I'm the odd man out.
I'd leave you down there, though.
You're not.
I'd
You're not
leave you
down,
down
there.
there.
We're gonna
I'm not staying
enter.
at the hospital.
We're gonna enter you under.
Just hot nurses.
We're gonna enter you under an alias, and you're gonna be living in some county down there, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
You'll be from Blue Gap, Virginia, and it'll be just
Like
fine.
I said, I'm up for anything. You know what I mean? It's just
Well, a minute ago, you're just telling me you don't want to go.
I don't want to go, but you know, it's
We'll paint
always.
Virginia sucks on the side of it.
Yeah.
I love New York.
Mike
You'll be
can't
fine.
go unless
You'll
you
be
get
fine.
permission from the boss. So don't.
What's that?
You got to talk to Mike's boss before he can go. So don't
Yeah.
get him penciled in.
We
Virginia.
we know how that's gonna go.
Yeah.
Mike's not gonna be able to go.
Depends on when it is.
Yeah, that's why I said.
Yeah, like I said, Mike's not going to be able to go.
It's the
May.
May. Oh, which one are you talking about?
I don't know. You said you were going to go down. I thought the first one.
The first one's May 10th. The second one is going to be the Monday and Tuesday after Hartford.
Oh, that's right around our Pike of Derby season up here, man. How am I supposed to make half my shows when I'm out of town?
So don't go,
Out of
Guy.
town or better. Out of
Guy,
town.
I'm not splitting hairs over this. If you don't want to go, don't go. I
I
don't
do
care.
want to go, but the thing is they need to start running shows all year. long.
Decker's got to buy that 3-car hauler.
Yeah, there you go. Then I'll go.
It'll never happen.
Ton dually truck.
Never happen.
It'd be fun, but you can't be the only car out of town.
I need to get a real job if I want to do that.
Then you'd have to work for a living.
I know, and I don't want to do it.
I was going to say, you don't want to do that.
No, we don't want that to happen. We
I
don't.
want to build derby cars.
They get paid for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I do that. I've done that.
All right.
Let's go drink.
Yep. Enough of this spiraling downhill. For Brian Tompkins, Mike Felice, we got Guy Raymond, Josh Decker. We had Brett Cline, Kenny Kane from all the way out there in Illinois. We appreciate it. Hopefully you learned a little bit of something about the compact guys, and hopefully the compact guys feel a little bit more respected. We appreciate you what you do, and we wouldn't be able to have a lot of the shows that we have and the good ties that we have without those guys. So once again, I'm Chris Marquardt. For everybody else, that's going to do it for this edition of the Crash Course Derby podcast. We'll see you right back here again next week.
What happened now? You know how Northeast Gully made you and me so we could okay people?
Yeah.